Here we'll do a problem involving percents, parts, and wholes. This question asks 60% of 150 is what number? To start, I'll draw a picture of this situation. Imagine a circle. Now this whole circle is going to be our 150. We can tell this by the word of. Any number that comes after the word of is going to note how big the whole circle is. We are also given the number 60 with a percent sign next to it. The percent sign notes how much of the circle we're going to mark off. But be careful about the percent sign because any number followed by a percent will be a percentage. If we try to imagine 60% of the circle, it would be a little bit more than half. Remember that half of the circle is about 50%. 60% is a little higher than that, so we're going to draw a little bit more than half of the circle and then mark it off. I'll shade it in green now. The question, however, asks us how much of the circle is shaded. We know it's 60%, but we don't actually know what number that represents. We know the whole circle represents 150, but we don't know how big the green area represents. Our goal is to figure out how big that is. In order to find out how big that part is, we're going to set up a proportion. And the proportion will use this formula. On the left side, I'm going to write the word percent and write over 100. And then on the right, I'm going to put the shaded piece of the pie on top and the whole on the bottom. Anytime you're going to try to find information about parts of a whole, you'll use this formula. Always percent over 100 equals the shaded over the whole. Now, we know what the percent is because we said a moment ago that the percent is 60%. We also know what the whole is because we just said that was 150. However, we don't know how big the shaded is. We know it's 60% of something, but we don't know how much that is yet. I'm going to put a question mark next to the shaded. We're going to let that shaded region become an unknown letter. It doesn't really matter what that letter is, so I'm just going to use the letter X. So I'm going to write a proportion that puts the percent, that was 60, over 100, and say that equals X on the top and 150 on the bottom. If you've seen my previous videos, you'll recognize that we have a fraction equal to another fraction. This is called a proportion. When we have that proportion, we solve it by doing a crossed product. We'll deal with this crossed product on the next page. To do our crossed product, we're going to take the 60 on top of the left fraction and then multiply it times the 150 on the bottom of the other fraction. I'll write that down below our proportion. We'll say 60 times 150. Then place an equal sign. Then we'll take the 100 on the bottom of the other fraction and multiply it by the remaining number. We don't know what that number is, so we're just going to call it x. Now to solve for this x that we are after, we're going to divide by the number that's in front of the x. That's 100. Therefore, we'll write divided by 100 on both sides. When we have 100 over 100 on the right, these will both cancel out and leave the invisible 1. Therefore, I can say that 1x is equal to 60 multiplied by 150 divided by 100. Now we'll go to our calculator and do our math. We'll take the 60, then press multiply 150, then divide by 100. This gives us 90. This will be our x. This means that our shaded region represents the number 90, while the whole represents 150. So this shaded region of our circle is 90 out of 150. We'll say the shaded piece was 90 and the whole is 150.